Our point of differentiation on the Burn the Playbook podcast is our segment called Burn It or Build It, which we'll jump into, which is our rapid fire questions. I will throw out a topic and you tell me either to burn it or build it and maybe a brief reason why. So number one. Oh, first, are you ready?
Hold on.
Okay,
I'm ready.
All right.
Yes.
Number one, customer is always right.
Burn it. The customer is rarely right, and they know it. And so you know more about how customers buy, who should be involved, what decisions should follow, what information matters most than they do themselves. Use that to your advantage and become their coach and their guide.
Nice. Number two, traditional sales training workshops.
Well, as a person trying to sell traditional training workshops right now, I would say build it like crazy and sell the hell out of them. But I would suggest, and I think we'd all agree that is if not step one, step two. Maybe there's a keynote in front of it. Sell those two. But you have to get the idea out into the world and socialize it and get people familiar with the tools. But without I think where you and I both go would be without long-term reinforcement and without a higher level why this matters in the first place. Then it's insufficient. So rethink it.
Agreed. So we're split on that one, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Traditional acronyms like MEDIC, BANT, SPEN, all those things in sales, burn it or build it.
Yeah. I drove a stake through the heart of BANT pretty aggressively about 15 years ago, and it's still alive. So happy to go on that riff if you want. But MEDIC on the other end, or MedPick, or take your flavor, I don't think it's a sales methodology, so don't. But I do think it has value. So don't burn it, but understand what it is and make sure that you don't build an entire house on that foundation because it's not foundational. It is rather it's a great rubric for qualification. It is not a sales methodology. And in any one of those letters of MedPick is a reframe that's waiting to happen. I've built some of that content. So if anyone wants to be reframed on each of the letters of MedPick, give me a call because that's a rebuild it. That's what that is.
Gotcha. A rebuild it. All right. We need to have a new.
Is that a thing? I made up a thing. Bant, on the other hand, burn that thing. Burn that thing with let's put that in the solo stove and just let it go, man. It'll be gone in 30 seconds. Have you used a solo stove? Those things are amazing, by the way.
I do. I have one. I love it. It's fantastic.
Oh my God.
It's so efficient and it's great this time of year.
You go through like $500 worth of firewood in one night though, because it burns it so fast. Anyway, sorry.
It's effective.
Fly-by marketing. I'm ruining your game. Keep going. What's the next one?
No, it's all good. Solo stove. We're going to build that.
Yeah.
Discounts to win deals. So when it's all said and done, we're at the finish line, so to speak, and we're just going to discount our way to close the deal.
I don't know if I can get you 10% discount, but I might be able to get you 5%. I just need to talk to my manager, but only if you act now. I think that's a bad way to go. I burn the heck out of that. However, I think there is, in fact, I just did this week. It's not, I don't know if it's discounting, Mark, but reducing the price while shifting the value commensurately. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we need to bring it down by $15,000, but instead of being able to do this and deliver this value, then we're gonna have to rescope it such that the scope is now consistent with the price. I don't know that that's discounting. So as long as there is a consistent relationship between value and price, then I think the price can go up and down as necessary. Obviously, we always want the price to go up, but the value should go up with it too. So, but just discounting for the sake of discounting, that's a slippery slope into really bad places.
Agree. So we'll burn that one. So it's
yeah, efficient. We'll burn that one. Yeah.
Okay. Company history and PowerPoints. And the reason why I asked this one, at least, is that typically we lead with the first 5 to 10 slides about our company history. We're 150 years old. Burn it or build it.
Burn the heck out of that one. This is old Challenger riff. I had a long riff on this one. It's like, oh, you were founded in 1853. Oh, I thought you were founded in 1863. Well, now I'll buy from you. That 10 years really makes a difference.
Everything.
Right? Burn that.
Burn that. That was easy. That was a layup. Thought leadership PDFs. There's a lot of thought leadership on LinkedIn these days. Burn that or build it.
I don't know if you need to burn it, but I wouldn't build much more of it. This is where if customers are already overwhelmed with too much information, just pouring more information into the world doesn't really seem to be helpful. So rather what I would suggest is rebuild it. Rebuild your content. This is a lot of frame making. A lot of the work we're doing with marketers is rethink your content strategy around being helpful to customers to make decisions rather than just giving one more thing to think about.
Makes sense. Goes back to being helpful.
Yep.
I forget what number this is. 7. NPS as your North Star.
Net Promoter Score. With respect to Fred Reichelt, I would tell you this is what we found in research. So this is burn it. Again, with due respect to Fred, who I've never met, but burn it unless your North Star is retention and pure retention, not expansion, just retention. Net Promoter Score is a great indicator of likelihood of retention. As soon as you throw growth into the equation, whether it's new logo acquisition or expansion of existing, Net Promoter Score is no longer predictive of an actual outcome.
Agreed. So it's slightly burn.
Yeah. Rescope it. Burn it on the edges. Yeah. Burn it so it's smaller. Burn it. Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Anyway.
Rebuild it.
Yeah.
So you establish a new category. Rebuild it.
Completely blowing up your I'm sorry. I'm not playing by the rules at all.
That's okay. That's why it's called Burn the Playbook. We can just redo it as we go.
We just burn the playbook of the playbook of the, and got it.
Burning our own. Buyer intent data. So this is very popular. There's a variety of different, data points that people look to. Burn that or build it.
I'm about to do a keynote for 6 cents, so I think we have to keep it. I think so. Build it, but build it differently than you think you should. I think it's interesting. I really do, and I think there's more that we can learn there. Mm-hmm. One of the things we know from our research, though, is that much of the consumption of content and activity online that customers engage in a purchase happens far earlier than you think. So to the degree that you think those intent signals are actually indicating process through a purchase and advancement through a purchase, they probably aren't. But to the degree that you see intent signals as someone at the top of the funnel as maybe potentially ready to go on that journey, I think they have some real value. To be totally honest with you, I think I've got a lot more to learn there. I'll raise my hand and say, before I pass judgment, I'd love to get smarter on it. But but we have to just be careful what we think that intention is telling us.
I agree. It's kind of like the last one on NPS. You just shouldn't put all your, eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Yeah.
Final one here is LinkedIn post to buy buyer confidence. I'm sorry, boost buyer confidence.
It feels like I'm not only living in LinkedIn all day, but sleeping there too. So by the way, if someone wants to do it, maybe you could bring someone on the show and I could watch and we could talk about top of the funnel and just like the very top demand generation. That has become complete mystery to me. Is like if outbound doesn't work, if inbound doesn't work, if content doesn't work, as I've said 3 times on this call today, what does work? I read an email or a LinkedIn post this morning. Apparently the guy was advocating for sending handwritten letters because it's so differentiated. Go back to your differentiation points. Like, well, artisanal, but maybe effective. So I'm placing a pretty big bet on a high level of activity on LinkedIn right now. And I absolutely see it helping, but it's hard to imagine it's going to help at scale, which is so I don't know. To me, it's hard for me to say burn it unless I had a clear alternative, and I don't. So for me, it's build it.
I guess you could tie it back into the frame making mindset and just be helpful. So if you're going to put content out there, be helpful and just don't repeat all the same stuff that everybody else is saying.
I've been saying to marketers for years, it's not your content that matters, it's the content of your content. So they worry about channel. So your question was a channel question. Should it be on LinkedIn or somewhere else? And my answer, what it really would be is it doesn't matter. It's less important where you put it. More important is what you put in it. Like what is the content of your content matters more.
True. Well said.